Now, you might notice that that's the biggest title on the roster, because I'm the creative guy, and I wanted to show that I meant business today, not just the guy who paints walls, which a lot of people think we do. Big topic, physical, economic, and social landscapes, and for us, that's how we perceive things and what we do. On face value, we do just paint pretty walls, and people enjoy them. But like's been said, this is Unit44 Gallery. Pretty proud to have been the project curator here for just over 3 years. We've done some pretty cool stuff out of here, and we set up 44 Creative, and a bit more recently, MSA Music/Art, which is our boozer in town. And we kind of took all the energy from the gallery, we put it in here. It's pretty cool for a cocktail as well if you're out and about. First things first, this chap. Now, this isn't a joke. That wasn't a laughing point. This is Stephen Dunn, and every word that comes out of my mouth today, his words too. He's been my partner in crime for the past 4 years, 5 years, and you know, Batman, Robin. Because I'm on the stage, I'm Batman. He can be Robin. But no, this guy deserves a nod. I'm just going to take all the glory and give the presentation. Right, a running theme. This is from a book. This isn't like a security camera or something like that. The connotations of street art, I call it the art game, because people always have their own mindset about what it is we do. Vandalism, destruction, you know, illegal activity, a little bit juvenile. But just think about that as we go through, and I'll ask the question again at the end. New York, America. Every idea that we've brought to the fold in Newcastle is from seeds that have been planted for a long, long time. Stephen and I are obsessed with this place. This is where a lot of our artists come from. They do cool buildings. Great music is made in America. That's kind of what inspires us. Fast, New York. Obviously, Banksy went through one of those up in New York. It's just like a bit of a cultural hub for what we do. And that just kind of inspired us in ways that we wouldn't know. Go back 5 years, no gallery, no studio, definitely no music/arts. And me and Stephen used to share a courtyard. And literally it was wake up in the morning, some days still in your pajamas. You could walk across the courtyard. We'd have breakfast and we'd work at a buffet table at Stephen's house. We'd do some events, we'd do some design, we'd maybe buy and sell some artwork. All these seeds just planted away, nothing really coming to fruition until we had a look at this place. This is Unit 44, and that is actually what it's called as well. It's on Holt Yard, it's just down the road, and this is what we looked at. Charlie Holt showed us around this space, and it was vacuous, there was nothing there. And he took us around the yard, and we've seen these huge warehouses and seen potential. What it was old Britain. It was manufacturing, it was producing things, it was skilled labourers, and it had been kind of left to decline over the years. And Charlie had this great vision. He really wanted to see a more of a up-to-date approach. He wanted young entrepreneurs, and he wanted creative people to take a hold of this yard that had kind of been left to neglect over the years. And Stephen and I are kicking each other. We're like, this would be amazing. This is better than the buffet table. This is going to be cool. So we get shown these walls, and all I can think about, and all we can think about is, wow, that's like how they go on in America. That's how they paint. They have these big walls. So let's ask Charlie if we can start bringing in these artists. Let's pull some artists in. Let's do some great murals, and let's help Charlie put Holt Yard on the map. So you start with someone you know. Kid Hackney, from Sheffield, Malawian born. Big name in street art and the scene that we love, and also in music as well. He's the first guy we asked. He's known for going big on walls, very comfortable with it. Let's get him up. Maybe we'll do a little wall. Let's get this project rolling in slowly. No, he wasn't game for that. So he did the biggest warehouse wall on the yard. And he's kind of laughing at us as well, because he writes "Dust in the Giant's Eye" on it as well, kind of making us feel a little bit insignificant. I'll take on the biggest wall. This is how I'm going to roll. And to be honest, what a way to start the venue. This is Kid Hackney here on the left, and this is me on the right. It's a pretty big wall. When the wind's blowing and you're painting just above the D, It was pretty scary. And that kicked off the project amazingly for us, and to be honest, it set a precedent. The next artist we asked, John Bergerman, now in New York. This guy's been everywhere on Pepsi cans, he's sold in IKEA, he's got his own range of teacups, mugs, wallpaper, he's got everything. This guy is so well known in the circles we roll in, and he'd never been this big before. Wow, what an honor. Getting him to go absolutely massive. And he still talks about us today, which is cool. Rower from Belgium. Might be a little bit morbid, but he didn't even know where Newcastle was. Like, actually, he got on the wrong train. Anyway, long story. Anyway, he came and he painted in February. And I'm talking, it was snowing, it was freezing, and this guy knocked this out on his own. It's absolutely huge. This doesn't really do the scale justice. And Rower put us on the international map like we couldn't imagine. This guy's traveled around America, around Australia. He's infamous in the scene. And it ended up, our gallery's getting pushed all around the world, which is amazing. All these images are getting shared, and Rower goes on countless projects, and he says, yeah, the guys at Unit44, they ploughed me full of wine and good food, and then made me pay for my own lobster. Next, INSA. Now, this might look pretty cool, and it is. Not when you've got to paint it 4 times, because that's what you have to do. INSA is this huge artist that we've worked with for years, and we absolutely love this guy, and he's always trying to push the boundaries. So how do you push the boundaries on something that gets seen, usually on a computer screen? Well, he created graffiti, where you paint it 4 times, stop frame animation, and then you loop it on. Pretty cool. This has been seen by over 1 million people on the internet. And that's in Holtshard, that's in our back garden. Pretty impressive. Siwan from London, pioneer in the scene. He wants to come up and paint for us. And it starts to keep rolling. Stormie Mills, Remy Ruff. This is Stormie's characters. This is on the side of one of the warehouses in Holtshard where they have big parties. This is his tribute to people kind of falling out of clubs. Handy Dan from Amsterdam. She'd never been this big either. We were kind of getting known as these guys who always had their hands dirty. We were painting big walls. It was so much fun to have this. To be walking around, to be with an artist, and to be doing stuff in Newcastle that we don't see every day. You don't see it. And we were kind of pioneering this. By no means are we the only people to do it. People have been before us. Electric Sheep, they were great pioneers of this. They had that same bug from New York. Lazarides, they've got Outsiders on the quayside. The Baltic were doing big group shows with these guys, but no one had really gone to town on the outdoor scale stuff like we had. It's a bit of an honour. Mr. Penfold, emerging artist from Cambridge. Let's get him up. Let's start weaving in new artists, not just really established ones. Pixel Pancho from Turin. These guys costed us a fortune to paint these walls because they always wanted to go bigger than the last one. And it started to create a real community vibe on the yard. And it's something to be really proud of on our side. This is Woody. He's a dog, and he's at Dale's sneaker. Obviously, he's a dog. He's at another business on the yard, Soul Heaven. He's their mascot, if you will. And the yard started to feel like a great place. Everyone started helping each other out. You started to see design agencies, you started to see t-shirt companies, and this real community started to come around. And it was kind of nice to stand in the middle of the yard and there'd be all these murals around, and also to be known as those guys who were doing stuff for the yard all the time. It was like quite an honour. And then it started to go a bit further afield. This is another club in Newcastle, and we started to get commissioned to do jobs outside of Holtshard, outside of Newcastle. We did a show in Melbourne, which we had 20 pairs of sneakers with 20 artists. Vans, Nike, Adidas, they were all in on it. This is in Birmingham. Huge, huge project and a massive nightclub there. And we pulled in artists from London, Birmingham, and we had a great time there as well. This is in Leeds. It's starting to see a pattern here. People want us to do stuff because it comes with connotations. It comes with, these guys are creative. They're working with some great artists, and we've got canvases for them. And it's been an absolute pleasure to fill them for them. And in that process, we've met some amazing people. This is Stormie Mills from Perth. This is Remy Ruff. And these guys, their careers dwarf ours. They travel around the world for a living, and they paint these things for a living. They do sell-out shows, and they do huge murals, they do commissions. And we're getting to meet them, and we're bringing them to Newcastle, and it's an honour. We get to go to Croatia, and we get to curate a stage out there. This isn't us. This is just a picture. One of our guys took it. I wish it was us. Bringing artists over. Darren Henderson, Melbourne-based. His grandmother lived down the road from Unit 44. And we're pulling him out of Australia for his first show. What a platform to give someone. Like, now the business has got to that point that we can fly an artist from across the world. Fair enough, he has to stay in my bedroom. Well, not my bedroom, my spare bedroom. Deep undertone. We get to give these amazing stages to these artists, these guys who are really creative, and a lot of them are doing it for the love. Great projects with people like Neil Shue. These guys have worked with the biggest brands in the world, Louis Vuitton. This guy did a commission for Muhammad Ali. You know, it's an honour to be in Newcastle and to be working with these chaps. Remy Ruff again, Mr. Penfold. She won. I think he's amazed at how big that wall is as well. Nosego, same kind of vibe from Philadelphia. He'd been picked out by Jay-Z as like an emerging artist on the East Coast. And we give him his first UK show. So not only are we doing stuff that's new for Newcastle, but we had people from London travelling up for our shows, from Scotland travelling down. It was, like I say, a huge honour. And people started to notice what we were doing. This is Johnny Wilkinson. This guy. And this is his clothing label. He started with his brother, called Fineside. I love the clothes, but it's kind of nice that he found us. He didn't ask us if he could take this picture. So I said, I'm going to put it in the presentation to get him back. This is him against one of our walls, and they're using it for their lookbook. People are starting to notice what we do. And we started to see that we could use that energy and that attraction and that attention to really do some good. So when someone came to us, a landlady, business owner in Newcastle, and she said, I've got a side of my building, and like all things a few years ago, times were pretty hard. I want something to shout about, something that people can rally around, like a real unique selling point for my business. And yeah, sign us up. That's the kind of stuff we want to do. And when you get a big wall, you're like, right, who are we going to get? And we asked the London police, this is Chaz. They come from Amsterdam, so that's 4 plane tickets, 4 hotel rooms. Yeah, you've got to love this stuff, right? And they painted an amazing wall. But not only that, they kind of transcended that. They intertwined with the community. They worked with people. They ate in the local boozer. They ate in the other local boozer. They did a lot of boozing. Sometimes before breakfast. It was hard to keep up. And they painted this amazing wall. But not only did they just come and slap their mark on it. This is Nina and Violet Ann. That's the business owner. That's her daughter. And it started to be that they intertwined and gave the community something to be proud of. It's pretty amazing. It's just down the road, actually, opposite the Clooney. And this is the first time that we'd been put in a mural, so it was quite an honour for us as well. These 3 guys here. Yeah. So I was like, shit, that's going to have like moustaches on, and we're going to get all sorts of stuff here. But nothing has ever happened to it, thankfully. Cross fingers, touch wood, all that. Because the guys did such a good job of making it feel like everyone's project. We had an event, we got in the press, you know, some great things came from it. This is Juxtapose magazine. You might see that the price is in dollars, euros, whatever. It is an international magazine, and there's a full page on it. This project has gone absolutely international, and this is in print, never mind what it did virally. And yeah, this is the guys. This is after all said and done. Like I said, a lot of drinking happened. Full tea. But that community aspect meant a lot to me. These guys didn't have to do what they did on that night. They basically got some boards, put them down the gallery wall, and they asked all the local writers and drawers and artists to come and draw with them. It was such a nice moment, because not only were people getting to see these guys draw live, but they were getting to draw with them, to talk to them, and to really associate with someone who's made it in the game, because these guys are so popular. It was like, wow, I want to be like you, I want to be able to do my art for a living, and this was like the best depiction of it for me, that they could actually come and see them do it. So the project's got a little bit bigger, and sometimes a little bit more adventurous. This was when we projected on the Angel of the North, illegally, before... Yeah, I'm in a bush here somewhere with a generator and a big, massive projector. You can't hear the sirens, but they're there. we didn't get in trouble because we just turned it all off and hid. But this was to give Laser314, who's the artist that we're talking about here. He's a street poet, and he basically runs around Amsterdam, and he does these little slogans, these little street poems. And we're like, yeah, we're going to go a bit bigger than that. We're going to put you on some of our national icons, some of our prized treasures. Yeah, so we did that as well. We didn't get in trouble for this one. I think just people thought it was funny, which is great. And it was the best platform to launch an artist. It was like a little bit tongue-in-cheek, it was a little bit funny, and it was a little bit daring. We thought, we've got to get in the national press with this. Big chance, surely. We'll get an email saying it's photoshopped. I was like, I was there. We did this. So it just ended up being one of these things that 3 years down the line I can put in a TED Talk. And they all didn't have to be this big. Some of the projects we did were really small, but again had that same kind of energy. There's a great independent cafe on the quayside called Key Ingredient, and it's run by the nicest couple who have just had a baby. And they had this really garish shutter, and they knew what we do. And they were like, look, can you paint something on our shutter? And they give away gingerbread men with their coffees. So at the time, they didn't used to open on a Tuesday, which used to piss a lot of people off. So when they rock up, we were like, they've been welcomed by this gingerbread man. And it's like, well, maybe I'll see it tomorrow. And we love projects like this. And it is hard. I know that Anne spoke about it before, but money is tight. Money is really tight out there in this sector. And it has to be for the love and the passion. So every time it starts to get really hard, it's like, just make more art. It does actually make you happy. It is a good thing because all these little stories touch people. And the next project that we took was probably the biggest one to date. And it was down here. This is really close. It actually goes under here. This is the Ouseburn tunnels. And we went and met them guys. And they were saying, like, look, we've got this amazing space. For my sins, I'd never been. And it gets good attendance. However, we're really struggling to make it relevant to people who are a bit younger. But we'd like more people to come and see it. Sign me up, I want in. We can help you do that. Can we do a show down here? And they were like, you want to do a show down here? Yeah, we want to put 12 artists in and we want to get loads of people to come and see it. And they were like, they were game. They gave us their full support and their full backing. And with this photo, I could go knocking on some big doors. So you start at the top. Shepard Fairey, I know he was mentioned before. This guy got in a lot of trouble for painting this guy's face. Just to dumb it down a little bit. He's probably the most infamous artist on the planet. He's a household name for his Obey campaign, for the Shepard Fairey that he is, and for the Obama posters that he created. Sent him the photo, he's game, he's going to send us a huge picture. Wow, that's amazing. Artists a little bit closer to home. This is Hush. Just as big, but from right here in Newcastle. So not only are we reaching out to other countries, we've got Newcastle represented pretty well. And we invited people to come down, wear a hard hat, and look at this show in the tunnel. And people did. People came down to see the 12 artists that we'd got. They took loads of pictures. They came and appreciated the art, but at the same time, they were being exposed to this amazing landmark that we've got. This amazing piece of history. If you haven't been, go and check it out. It's amazing. Honestly, you go down and you're like, shit's definitely happened down here. It's a little bit scary, and it's a great tribute to the past, and it's like about suffering, community, overcoming real hardships, whether it be working conditions or taking refuge during the Second World War, which is what it was used for. So, yeah, to put an art show in there with some of the most recognised artists we could find was an absolute honour. And people responded really well. And like to have images like this, yes, it wasn't the perfect gallery, it wasn't white walls, people did have to duck down. They didn't want to leave the work in there for longer than 4 hours because it was a bit damp. But it was amazing. Great project, loved it. And it went in the papers. One of those projects that they can't turn us down from now. This isn't photoshopped, it would have been a good job. That's me. And it went in all the papers, it went online. We worked with this great ad agency in London called Full Fat, and they helped us really give a bit of a shout a shout about this project, and it went so far, and they couldn't have been happier with how well it did. Ignore this for a second. It went really far. Super proud moment. But I'm left with this whole legacy thing. Meeting people and saying, oh, I'm doing this talk, it's on legacy, and they're like, dude, you just paint on walls. Like, what are you going to talk about? The walls will fade, the projects will be forgotten, but the people that we've had the pleasure of working with won't be. This is David. He was there at the start of Unit 44. He's now fully left us in his tracks as he goes and does his own personal projects far beyond anything he could have hoped for. Absolutely amazing photographer. He's came through our doors. This is my brother. He's a student, he's doing photography at uni, and he came and did an internship with us. I'm pretty proud of that. Courtney, Johnny, Dan Graham, Tom Finch, all these people that have come and worked with us on different projects, they're our real legacy because they take a little bit away with them, whether it's a little bit of influence or a little bit of help. They've come in on projects with us and they go away hopefully with a little bit more in their itinerary. Jenny, an intern who's with us at the minute, we don't make these people make cups of tea. That's just not what we do. We get them working on real projects and it's an absolute honour. People like Johnny, that's me he's hugging. That was after a show. Young photographer, full of talent. He's worked with us for the last 6 months to a year, absolutely blooming, absolutely blossoming. Every now and then he comes back and does a project for us, but usually it's for much better people. He's doing some really cool stuff now. And Sally, this is our first member of full-time staff. And that is our best legacy. It really is. Someone who can come on and work with us, get paid for their job, and they go away and they do their own stuff, and that's an absolute honour for me. And it goes far beyond painting on walls. And then there's the bit that starts to get really exciting because it's not measurable at all. It's the little people. They come to our gallery. We don't have like an over 18s or anything like that. We get to touch a lot of people. A lot of people come and see our walls, they come and see our projects, and yeah, they get to meet the artists. This guy always hounding us for stickers. Always. Got any stickers? And if we can like plant the same seed that we got, yeah, that's cool. That's what it's all about for me, because that doesn't fade. And it has been a consistent thread through all the talks today that it's not about the now, it's about what you pass on. And yeah, hopefully we pass on a little bit of influence that could spark an artist career or an artist project, or even just an eye, a perspective. That's our biggest achievement, I think. Now, do you still see those same things? Do you still see vandalism, destruction, illegal activity? This could have been illegal, actually. I don't know. This guy's Niels. He paints stuff illegal all the time. But if you take anything away, it's that this isn't bad stuff. This is opportunity, creativity, expression. That's our legacy. Thank you.